Hello everybody, welcome to Tech Dad Adventures. In this video today we're going to be discussing ditching the old Drobo B800i and replacing it with an Asustor Flashstor FS6712x, which is a all NVMe storage solution. I've been using Drobos for several years and I've been using them in an iSCSI format. Recently started having some issues with my Drobos, and so I decided to finally take that plunge and go ahead and buy something new. I looked through a couple of different products and had to make a decision for myself whether I wanted to stick with platter type drives or did I want to pursue the new NVMe style drives. After much consideration, I went ahead and made the decision to go ahead with NVMe drives. In this video, I'm going to show you what it took for me to assemble the new Asus Flashstor 6712, install 12 NVMEs. I did a memory upgrade on it from 4 gigs to 20 gigs, put it all together, and in this video we're going to just go over the actual physical installation of the NVMEs and the memory upgrade. After going through the build, I'm going to talk about a few things that I noticed after I got the system up and running. Here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what it took to do the assembly. I'm unboxing it here brand new. I purchased this through Amazon. I'll provide the links for this below, provide the links for the enclosure as well as the NVMEs and the memory upgrade that I did. So unboxing something like this is always fun, especially when you've never seen one. Kind of looking at all the interfaces on it, checking it out. And what we're going to do first is we're going to go ahead and start off by taking off the top cover and the bottom cover. That's what you're going to need to do first. Now, if you're only installing a couple of NVMEs, you can make the decision if you want to install them on the top or the bottom. And it takes 6 NVMEs on each side, 6 on the top and 6 on the bottom. If you're installing less than 6 to begin with, you only need to open up one side. We're about to go ahead and do that now. This is the memory upgrade that I bought. We'll be installing that too. And here's all the NVMe drives, all 12. I bought 12 2 terabytes to go in this thing. 4 screws and the bottom cover comes off. It's a pretty neat little design. They have it set up really nice. It just slides over, and they use like a USB style connector to power the fan, which is pretty neat. To take the top off, there's 2 screws on the rear of the enclosure on each side, the left and the right side on the rear of the enclosure, and then the top just slides off. And as previously mentioned, there's a spot for 6 on each side. 6 NVMEs on each side. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start off by pulling out the original 4 gig memory stick. I'm going to put the 16 gig at the bottom, which is the memory upgrade, and then I'm going to put the 4 stick back in on the top slot. That way, if I ever decide to upgrade the 4 gigs to another 16 gigs, it'll be on the top and be easy for me to do. I'm going to go ahead and start populating the 12 NVMe drives. Just note that you only need to open up one side if you're doing less than 6. The 6, I went with the Crucial brand, the Generation 3 Crucial. Whenever I bought them, I actually got them on sale. I was actually pretty surprised. I bought 12 of them on sale. If you're patient, you can actually wait till these go on sale. I know we got a Prime Day coming up pretty soon. Might be a good time to look for something like that. Alright, we're putting the cover back on. We're going to secure it with the 2 screws. And then what we're going to do is we're going to work on populating the NVMEs on the bottom. It won't take long. We'll get those installed. We're going to install the 6 on the bottom, and it goes pretty quick. As far as those NVMEs, when they pop in, it's just a little plastic piece that retains the NVMe drive in there. So what I did is, as I was pushing it down into place, kind of use my thumb to kind of move that plastic holder over just enough to make it easier for that drive to seat down where it needs to go. And then once we get the last NVMe drive in there, what we're going to do is we're going to put on the bottom cover. We're going to get that bottom cover installed again and get it screwed down and tidied up so we can get it ready for use. Yep, and there we go with the cover. We're going to put it back in place, make sure it feels right when you slide it back into place. Put the 4 screws in. And we're almost done here as far as the actual installation of the NVMe and the memory upgrade. Now here's a couple of things to note. If you're familiar with the Drobos, the Drobo Elite, the Drobo B800i, you know that they were primarily connected via iSCSI using the 2 Ethernet ports that they had on the back of the device. I actually really enjoyed using the Drobos. I like the fact that they did not have an app ecosystem on them. Now that I've transitioned and actually started using the Flashstor FS6712x device, here are a few things to note. If you're familiar with the Drobos, the Elite series, or even the B800i series, you know that their primary connection is over Ethernet and you connect to them through iSCSI connections. I've been using actually 3 different Drobos, 2 primaries and a third for a backup, 2 Elites and a B800i for several years. And recently, 2 of my 3 Drobos took a hit at the same time. Well, I didn't actually lose them, but they both suffered a drive failure at the same time. And it happened while I was replicating my data from one Drobo enclosure to the other. It was something that I do about once a month just to make sure I have backups of all my data. And in the process of me doing that, I ended up having a drive hit on both at the same time. What are the odds? Thinking through it all, I decided to go ahead and make a change. I didn't think it was very wise for me to continue using platter style drives when NVMe drive prices have come down, and they seem to be a lot more reliable than what they were when they originally started being sold. Also, there's some performance enhancements that you may be able to take advantage of using NVMe's over the old spindle type drives. Power consumption. The power consumption of this little Flashstor enclosure is way less than that of a Drobo. The Drobos that I had actually had 8 drives in them, and they use quite a bit of power when compared to the Flashstor enclosure. So the Flashstor with the NVMe uses substantially less power than the Drobos do. That means that the Flashstor is a lot better option if you're looking to save power. This Flashstor device is small enough that you could fit it inside of your laptop bag with your laptop. If you need a product that can be mobile or moved easily, well then the Flashstor is a great option for that. Drobos were a little bit bigger, a little bit bulkier. They also produced a little bit of heat. I couldn't see putting one of those big Drobos in a laptop bag. Now you could probably try, but it wouldn't be as convenient as using one of the Flashstors. The other big disappointment that I found was that on the Drobos, of course they were primarily designed for iSCSI, they supported what they call multi-connection, I believe is the term, for clustering. So if you had multiple computers that needed to access that single iSCSI target, the Drobos provided that support. However, looking at the iSCSI support that comes with the Flashstor, it does not appear to provide support for cluster or support for multiple targets to connect to the iSCSI. I'm still researching this. I may find out different after this video because I'm still actively researching it. But from my experience of integrating Proxmox with the Flashstor, so far I have not been able to find the option in the Flashstor on how to enable the multi-connection per target like the Drobos provided for clustering. Now, as I previously mentioned, I might not have found the option yet. It might be there. It may be a lack of knowledge on my part since I'm still new to the piece of hardware and the interface. And then one other item I wanted to mention. I've previously been having a conversation with a buddy of mine in my neighborhood about different storage options. I know that TerraMaster has a 9 and a 12 base spindle type drive enclosure that are pretty popular right now, as well as Synology. However, after making the decision to stick with NVMEs, I ruled those platforms out. And since FlashStor seems to be one of the better economically priced products with some performance enhancements when compared to the Drobos, I felt like this was a great choice for me. One of the things that came up in discussion point with my buddy who bought the TerraMaster was the app ecospace. I personally am not really into utilizing apps on devices like this. I was actually just looking for some solid, stable storage solutions that I could use to replace my Drobos. With that being said, the FlashStor does have a whole app ecosystem that you can utilize to do different things. They provide a lot of the well-known apps. They have a bunch of different options as far as apps are concerned, and you can use that on the FlashStor if you so choose. However, whenever I'm setting it up for myself, I'm using it for storage only. I'm not using any of the other app solutions that they provide, which you can run on top. The device also supports containers. From what I've understood, other folks are running containers and Dockers on top of the FlashStor directly. There again, I am not going to do that. I am going to actually use server hardware to run my Dockers, containers, and VMs, and just connect to the Asustor Flashstor device using iSCSI or Samba for storage purposes. That's how I intend to use it. Whether or not you're into the app ecosystem or not, the device still seems to be a very solid device so far. I'm still learning the interface on it, still learning the different things that can be configured on it, but so far it seems to be a pretty solid device. The Asus Flashstor device also has a 10 gig connection port on the back, a single 10 gig RJ45 connection port. That most definitely is a big upgrade from the dual 1 gig Drobo ports that we had. I have been able to take advantage of some of the faster speeds provided with the Asus Flashstor device. I've been pushing it up around the 2.5 gig mark for a while, and it seems to actually hold itself pretty stable. It doesn't seem to have any type of thermal issues with the way I'm using it, but at the same time, I'm not pushing it to a full 10 gigs either. Overall, so far my experience with the Asus Flashstor device has been very good. It does support Wake on LAN. If you want to power it off at night and then power it on remotely using Wake on LAN, it has that capability as well. Well, I believe that pretty much sums it up. Thanks for hanging out with us here at Tech Dad Adventures. Be looking for some additional videos on this Asustor Flashstor storage device, as I want to do some more additional reviews on it later and provide additional information. I also include some links in the description of the video below for the FlashStor device, for the NVMe drives, the memory, and a few other devices we use in our studio. If you have not done so already, right now is a great time to click that subscribe button. Thanks again for joining us here on Tech Dad Adventures.